In this video, we'll learn how you can build secure AI agents with the help of Docker, E2B, and the Nebius Token Factory. Now, as we know that AI agents are taking over the world, and one of the reasons is that they have this capability of being able to perform autonomous actions on behalf of humans. And at the center of all of that is the LLM that we use as kind of like the brain of the AI agent. So that's why, as companies are either exploring or already pushing AI agents in production, security is the number one concern a lot of people have. Whether it is coding agents that can not only help write code for you, but also then execute it. So how do we ensure that we can actually run that code in a secure manner? Because this code is still being generated by the LLMs, or it is with the help of the Model Context Protocol or MCP, the tool calls that you can make, because someone could compromise one of these tools being called, and that could lead for a lot of security concerns. So in order to bridge all of those, there is a partnership between Docker and E2B. Now, of course, if you're not already aware, Docker, of course, as a lot of people know, is a container orchestration, or not container orchestration, but the capability for you to be able to create containers as OCI artifacts and be able to like package your entire application or software code securely with the help of Docker. And at the same time, what E2B does is that they are providing these AI sandboxes for AI agents that allow you to run your AI agents securely. So both Docker and E2B decided to partner together to be able to provide secure cloud sandboxes for these AI agents. And through this partnership, the idea is that with every single E2B sandbox that you create will now also have access to Docker's MCP Catalog. Now, if you're already not aware of what that Docker MCP Catalog does, so as you know that when companies are building their own MCP servers, they want it to be shared in a way which is secure. And Docker MCP Hub or the MCP Catalog provides you that capability. Because almost every single major company that has an MCP server is listed on the MCP Catalog. And one of the great things about using the MCP Catalog from Docker is the fact that you can get direct built-in management for your secrets. So for example, I'll just quickly show one use case here, which is opening up Docker Desktop. And here you can see this MCP toolkit where I have the entire MCP catalog of some of the most popular MCP servers. So in this case, I have this one, this database one, where you can see the list of all of the tools, but also the configuration. So here I have defined the configuration for my database. And you can define all that directly with the help of Docker Desktop, here the MCP toolkit. And by leveraging the MCP gateway that helps you to serve these MCP servers that you have basically added. So this provides a really secure manner of you to be able to then run, publish your MCP tools. So the idea is that with these E2B sandboxes, now they allow every single sandbox can basically access this Docker's MCP catalog that we have. And the idea is that all of these MCP catalog and MCP servers would be available when you spin up a new sandbox. And of course, this comes with some of the most popular MCP servers from companies or publishers like Github, Notion, Stripe, all which are enabled with the help of the Docker MCP Gateway. So if you're interested to learn about the Docker MCP Gateway, they have really good documentation on that, and you can just search for the MCP Gateway and how that basically works and how it allows Docker to orchestrate the MCP servers and provide that capability. So when you're creating your own MCP server, even if it's not listed on the MCP catalog powered by Docker, you can still actually run and control MCP servers with the help of Docker's orchestration technology. So definitely do make sure to check out the MCP Gateway. Now, of course, the idea is that when you'll go ahead and create a new sandbox with the help of E2B, the E2B users can basically specify which set of MCP tools the sandbox should be able to access, and then E2B then launches these MCP tools and provides the access to these tools with the help of or through the Docker MCP Gateway. So this enables you to have a secure environment where you can run your AI agent code thanks to E2B, and you can get access to the MCP tools in a secure manner thanks to the Docker MCP Gateway. At the same time, of course, at the fulcrum of running AI agents, you need to have a secure LLM model. And that's where the Nebius Token Factory comes into picture, which provides a rich catalog of open source models from some of the world's most well-known open source or source open model providers, such as like OpenAI GPT OSS model, the Moonshot Kimi K2 Quen models, or even Hermes or GLMs. So all of the most latest and greatest AI models that are available to us, whether it's a simple text-based or embedding models, or even vision or text-to-image models, all of them are readily available. And you can just simply pick and choose. You just have to create an API key and you can choose whatever type of model you want to use. And the great thing is that, of course, you don't have to now worry about your data going to some of the private model players like Anthropic or even OpenAI. And you can pick and choose what model you want to use, and that's available for you to use. You can also fine tune your own AI models and then use them in case that's your use case. So that is a quick overview of the Nebius Token Factory. So for this particular example, what we are basically going to be doing is we are going to show how you can put together an E2B sandbox that can leverage the Github and Notion MCP servers. And of course, these MCP tools are going to be provided, are going to be routed through the MCP Docker Gateway or the Docker MCP Gateway. So idea would be that when you set up a new E2B sandbox, the E2B will be able to specify the specific MCP tools that you want. In this case, they will be coming from GitHub and Notion. And the demo is that by providing the personal access token for your GitHub and also your Notion API key, what this particular project or example will do is it will find the list of your top GitHub repositories with the most number of stars, fetch the links, and create a new page in your Notion summarizing all of your top projects with their GitHub stars. So here, what you'll see right off the bat is we are setting up E2B. So this is basically a Python file in which we are going to be creating an OpenAI Agent SDK. So if you're already not aware, OpenAI Agent SDK is an open source agent framework provided by OpenAI. And here, what we're going to be doing is that initially you can see that we are, let me zoom in a bit more. So here we are importing Sandbox, and we are also importing the Sandbox MCP. So this defines the set of MCP tools that we're going to be using. So we are going to be using GitHub, we're going to be using Notion, and then we are also importing agents with the async OpenAI so that we can basically use the Nebius Token Factory models. And in this case, you can see here that the model that we'll decide to use is Moonshot Kimi K2. And this is your base URL for the Nebius Token Factory. And this is where we go ahead and define the model that we are going to be using. And now what we are going to be doing is that we just import all of our tokens. So because we are using two different MCP servers, one is GitHub and the Notion, and that is why we have imported them. And then we go ahead and configure our sandbox with these MCP servers already configured in that sandbox. So that is why when we go ahead and create our sandbox, we use sandbox.create, and we are able to get our MCP connection, because what we are doing internally is that since we are using a combination of Docker, here we basically get the URL that's there. So when you are setting up your E2B instance, at that time, you're also basically getting the MCP gateway URL because this is coming from Docker. And then what we are going to be doing is that we have this method for being able to connect our EC2, or sorry, not EC2, but E2B MCP gateway with the help of the OpenAI Agents SDK. So of course, you could also use this purely as a Python script, but if you want to build like an agent that can access these MCP servers and can basically access the E2B sandbox, we are basically going to be using over here the OpenAI example, and this basically then lists all of the different available tools. And here we have defined our AI agent, which basically just says that we'll create a Notion page based on GitHub repository and whatever list of repositories that we have. And we have defined the task over here. And now we simply just go ahead and start to run our AI agent. And once the execution has completed, then we also go ahead and kill our sandbox, so it automatically terminates. So here, this is an example that I've already run. So here you can see that in order to start running this, you can just do uv run main.py, and it creates the MCP gateway URL and generates a token. And then it lists the list of all of the different available tools that are available to us, thanks to loading these MCPs or configuring them as part of our E2B Sandbox. And then we have the running task, which basically says that we'll start with the GitHub MCP server to list all of my repositories, and then use the Notion MCP server to create a summary of the top 3 repositories by GitHub stars. And then it will go ahead and do all of these particular tasks. And then that's where now our LLM from Nebius Token Factory kicks in. And we initially start with, you can see here that because the task that has been given to it, it first lists the GitHub repositories by using the relevant tool from the GitHub MCP server, and it basically lists all of them. And then it goes ahead and uses the next set of tools, this time from Notion, and it creates this particular page. So we can go ahead and explore this. And you can see here that it has created this really nice looking Notion page, thanks to the context being passed from one MCP tool call. So of course, that's what the agent is handling right now internally, which is being powered by the OpenAI Agents SDK. And it, of course, takes all of the context from the GitHub MCP server tool call for listing all of the repositories, and uses that information to create a well-looking Notion page automatically being created with that. And finally, you can see that at the end of the execution of this entire example, the sandbox gets terminated. So of course, the idea here now is that thanks to the capability of being able to run this entire agent execution inside of E2B, so that's a secure access for your agent and for code execution if required. Then tool execution is being secured thanks to the Docker MCP Gateway and the MCP Catalog. And finally, you're also using an open source model like the Moonshot Kimi K2, which is hosted on the Nebius Token Factory. So with that, you can see that how we can secure the execution of AI agents thanks to all of the capabilities being offered by the set of tools that you just saw. So yeah, that's a quick overview of how you can leverage Docker, E2B, and the Nebius Token Factory to create secure agentic AI.